Luke, though, you mentioned that you started following along. We had a chat about a couple of years ago, and then you ended up sort of on the fence, not moving it forward at that time. Then we started talking about a year later, just bouncing out the back of COVID. We talked at that time, and I know even then you sort of laboring over the decision, obviously wanting to make sure that you're making the right one for you, but that process took a little bit of time. And now fully get that there is that element of leap of faith when you don't know exactly what the outcome of the planning process is, which is totally the whole point of having a solid planning process to begin with. But looking back on that now and the history there, what would your tips be for someone else that was in a similar position or struggling with the same sort of that taking the leap?
Yeah, the main thing would be just really, I was really quite time poor, and that was one of the things ultimately holding me back, and then it was the thing in your brain going, okay, well, it's going to cost me quite a bit of money to go ahead and do it. Well, I can tell you right now that it's absolutely been a tenfold return, and that's without a word of a lie. It's been a huge result, and the decisions that we've made and that over the course of the last 12 months, it's been a major impact for us moving forward, and I can see what that looks like for us in our future now, and where we want to get to, and that's been an absolute game changer. Like I couldn't recommend you guys enough for that. And yeah, you've got to take accountability on your side, and if you're serious about doing it, and you're serious about obviously your money, and you're in a good position career wise, and able to make the right investments, then it's something you need to do. It's as simple as that. And I was never really that great with money and my finances, and that's sort of just those learnings and that have come out of it, and are still coming out of it. Like I'm still learning. We have our regular catch-ups, and I'm talking to you about cryptocurrency. I'm talking to you about ETFs, and seeing stuff around employee share option schemes, and it's all of that constant sort of learning that's enabling us to start to look at the strategy might change. It might sort of there might be certain things we cut back on, or certain things we go a bit harder on, but it's certainly I think it's allowed us to get to that stage where we're comfortable and confident to make those decisions, and we've got stability. We've also got the ability to invest in some maybe riskier stuff, but not necessarily too riskier, and to keep us in check by having those conversations with you guys to say, hey, what do you think of this? And it's just getting a different view on it, and maybe, okay, well, that's not necessarily the right thing to do. But, first and foremost, just go ahead and do it. It's it might take a bit to set the whole process and the automation and everything up, but once it is set up, you just don't have to think about it. And that's been I take everything a lot more, finance and that just it's a lot more seriously now, and at the same time, I just don't have to worry about it. It's been it's been a great result.
Nice. And it's so good to see. I think it's hard, you get that our process is fairly hands-on and involved. And even like you mentioned that it's over a 12-month, you're still constantly learning, that it's hard to take it all in all at once, because there are a lot of moving parts there. And we don't, we want people to make sure that they understand what they're doing well enough to confidently put it into place. But we also get that there's only so much you can take in at once, and there's been a big uplift, and there always is for when we go take people through the process and then work with them beyond that. But I can only imagine that when you're trying to figure it all out yourself, and you don't even have someone as that sounding board to say, okay, here are the most important things that you need to know, and how to figure out what the top 2 or 3 options are that you should be thinking about, and which 2 or 3 you should definitely avoid, to narrow down that field to make it a bit easier to make decisions. It's there's a lot of different dynamics and moving parts, and I think it's that psychology and fear of doing the wrong thing that does lead to a bit of that paralysis. So I think that education is really